Hello, welcome to part 13 of this video series, Ruby on Rails Airbnb clone. So in last video, we had set up this dummy properties, and in this video, we'll try to create our property database, property table basically, or model, and fetch some of the information from that. Okay, because everywhere we have Udaipur, India, so we want to change that. And yeah, let's start with that. So. And I think this video is going to be a bit of complete MVC framework. So keep an eye on it. Let's start. Okay. Now we want to generate a property model. Okay. Now for that, let's have a look at what all things we will need in a property table. And at the same time, let me note down somewhere. So if we have a look at it, we have images that we will handle later on. Right now, I'm not focused on that. We have reviews. Okay, let's write it down first and then I'll explain you why I'm cutting down something or not. What all things are there in properties? Images, okay. Then address, which can be really long or anything, but let's say address. Then there are reviews. Then there are host name, host details. Okay. Then there is price. What else is there? Availability. This is from reservations part, so that's not important for us. Until unless we don't move on to the reservation part, we are not focused on this reservation related details. And if we click on a property, let's go in detail. Burj Paneria, this is the name. Then we have Lake Pichola, facing bedroom, private room. Okay, so let's break it down. Property name, headline. Okay, so I'm giving Burj Paneria as property name, and this is a headline. Then we have bedroom and guest and all those things. We will handle this later on in a separate way because this is not shown in homepage, so I'm not focused on that right now. Hosted by Anju, we are showing it homepage on a homepage, so let's focus on that. Description, we are not showing it on homepage, but it's just a text description, or maybe let me write bedrooms. Then what else is there? Amenities. Maybe there is a typo, but it's fine. Amenities. Then reviews, latitude, longitude, exact location basically. That can be part of address. Then there are rules. Rules are in house rules, safety and property, and cancellation policy. Okay, let's write it as things to know. So for now, I'll keep this video short and focused on the homepage only. So things to know, we are removing it. Amenities is actually not part of properties directly. It's a connection between various amenities and various properties. Okay, so let's remove that. Proper bedrooms, a property can have multiple bedrooms. So we'll create a separate table for this. We'll see this later on. Okay. Description will be a direct thing and is only connected to property, nothing else. Host name, we will remove that for now because if we are if we want to handle the host name, we will have to create a user also. And that user's name will get used here, right? So host name is basically a connection between property and a user. So right now we'll keep it simple and remove this. Same goes for reviews also. It's a because a review is left by a user on a property. So it's a connection between users and its property. So let's remove this for now. And images. Images is a bit of a big topic for us. So let's remove this also. I know I've removed a lot of things, but I'm trying to keep this video simple. Okay. So let's add another thing here. Uh, let's write name, headline, description. These things we will need. Then let's remove price, because you'll see this why I'm removing this in next video. We'll use something called as money rails gem, and we'll use that for our amount related details. So these three things. Then let's expand on address. I'll write it as address line 1. Second line can be landmark, or let's make it simple. Address line 2. Then there will be city, state, country, latitude, and longitude. I think this is mistake. Okay, so again, latitude, longitude is not part of the home page, so let's remove that for now. Even description is not part of home page, we can remove it, but okay, let's keep it this. Let's keep these details. Now, let's focus in terms of data type. Okay, so whenever we are creating some table, we have to mention data type of that particular type. For example, if you are talking about age, then it is a number. It can be an integer, right? If you are talking about money, so it can have decimal values. So it can be a double or it can be a float, right? Similar to that, a string will be given to name. A name will be a string. Headline will be a string. Description can be a string, but we want this string to be really long. So for that, we have a special data type, which is text. Address line will be short, so string, 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 and string. And all this is part of what? Property. All this is part of property. So I hope this makes some sense to you. So we'll create a table for this. For creating a table, let's start. Again, in past, we have used some generators of Rails. I think we used generator for controller. That was one, and maybe something else also. But for now, let's go with Rails generate G model. We want to generate a model. Model is related to database, if you remember this MVC framework. MVC Rails. I'll keep this open for this particular video. We will need this. So if you notice, model is related to database. So that's why we are generating model. What is the name of the model? Property. Property name. And now we have to mention all these things. So let's go ahead with that. Name, string. Okay. Then we have headline, string, text, sorry, description, string. What else? Address 1, string. Address 2, string. What else? State, city, state, country, city. Okay, I have made one mistake here. This description is not a string, it's a text. Okay, going back again, is address 1, address 2, city. Now let's create state, string, country, country, string. Note that there is no space between them. Then latitude, longitude we will add later on. I think that should suffice. Let's add them. It has created one file here and one file here. Let's check these files. And by the way, whenever you see there is a change in DB migrate, and obviously we know that we are working with database, we will have to migrate this database. Okay, it has not been fully finished. We will have to migrate it separately. So let's go to our model. This and what else? Database migration. This. So let's have a look at property model. It's empty. Fine. Let's have a look at our. There is one migration which is create properties, change, create table, named properties, string, string text, string, 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 string. Yeah, everything is correct. We want this to be in this format only. So, and timestamp, it gets automatically timestamp and ID for each and every property will get automatically added by Rails framework directly. Okay, so let's do this. Rails db migrate, I think. And now we can see the schema file has also changed. It has added this table. Okay, so that's great. But now we need another thing. We need fake data. So let's try to create one fake data. How can we do that? This is seeds. Basically, uh, whenever our project starts, what data you want. Okay, so let's add here. We have this example. Let's use this example. They are using movies. We will use properties equals to movie.create property.create. Okay, by the way, they have written it in a simple way, but as a Ruby developer, because this is a critical task, you should add a bang operator with it. It doesn't have any significance in coding, but any other developer who is reading this will know, okay, I have to pay attention to this. That's how it gets right. Otherwise, in coding, it doesn't have any significance in this particular framework. Okay. Now, what does it have? It is an array of different names of movies. For our case, we will write it simply name sample property description. I'm just writing something. Then we need headline, headline, address 1, address 2, city, state, and country. Okay, this is all dummy data. I'm just doing that to because we will change it in this video directly after doing one test. Now let's restart our server. Before that, we'll have to do one more thing. This we have just written this seed data. We have not loaded it. So for that, Rails, because we are working with database DB, reset or seed. I think both works. I'm just resetting so that there is no duplicate entry. Git. Okay, not git. Now let's start our server. bin/dev. Let's go to our website. Let's see if there is any mistake. No. Now we have to use this database, right? So for that, if you remember from our first or second or third video, we had used one variable in home controller, right? Now we won't be using that variable. Instead, I'm creating this new variable properties equals to property.all. Okay, let's see the size of this property. Now there is one thing. I've created this variable. I can use, let's do this actually. I haven't taught you Rails console yet. Rails console is basically a console that helps us debugging the entire Rails database and Ruby coding. So if we start this, now we can write property.all and we can see that we do have one property here. Okay, so this is the exact code that we are writing here, property.all. We know that we have one property. Now let's let's completely verify this in our front end also. Okay, so I'll exit this terminal, this Rails console, exit. Okay, we'll go in depth while working on this entire coding, but just for your sake, just understand that whatever you are writing in Ruby, you can actually write this in console also. Okay, and there are other ways also, but right now I'm just teaching you Rails console. Now let's go to our home page home view, layouts, not home, index. Now you remember that we can use this variable in our index file. We are in our home index file. Let's use that variable. How will we use this? instead of writing 10 times, let's use @properties dot count or size. I'm not fully sure. Let's use the size. 1. Okay, so we can see that we had added one property and that's why it's showing 1. Let's do one more thing. By the way, we don't need this. We don't need this variable. Let's add another one. Sample property 2. Let's again reset the database. Turn off close your server basically. Uh, then Rails. Again, working with database, therefore db reset. Let's restart our server, bin/dev, refresh. We can see 2 properties. Obviously, the data is not correct here. We can fix that easily. But now we know that we can generate and show some data, right? So you can create like 10 properties here and use this. Now let's do one thing. We will have to go to our model that we have created, property model. And in this, we will have to add some things. Each and every property should have some details which are mandatory and some are optional, right? So let's start with those things. What all things are mandatory? Let me add a comment. Name is mandatory. Headline, description. What all do we have? Name, headline, description. Address 1 is mandatory. Address 2 is optional for us, so I'm not writing it. City, state, country. All these things are mandatory, right? So how do we make sure that it is there? Valid dates. Uh, yeah, validates name. So this corresponds to this. Presence. Presence. True. I think, yeah. Let me check this. Validate column in Rails. I'm writing correct code. I'm not sure about the spelling here. Validates, not unique, validates presence. Validates presence. We just want to validate that it is present. Presence. Okay, this was the mistake, right? Validates presence true. So let's try this out. Let's create another property and remove property name from this. And we will notice that and another property. And let's remove description from that. We'll keep the name, but we'll remove the description. So ideally, because if this is correct, this property should not get added because it doesn't have a name. Other properties do have a name, so it should work correctly. Let's try this out again. Rails DB reset. Okay, I think my server is right. No. Validation failed. Name can't be blank. Okay, so it has failed correctly. Now let's remove this and we can see it's working correctly. So you can understand that bin/dev, that what validates do, right? It makes sure that the value is present. And we have 3 properties now. So let's expand this for other values also, other columns also. Headline, description, address 1, city, state. It's kind of boring, but we still have to do this. Country. So this will make sure that all these details are present. So that's one. We have done this validation part and make sure that it's a part of model because model is interacting with database, and we have to make sure that data is validated. We don't want to validate it in controller or a view. We want this to be validated during database only. Okay. We can also do this via another process, which is in a schema, we can mention not null, like this null false. So similar to that, we can add those values here also. We'll do that in other uh, subsequent database updates. Okay. So this has been validated. Let's close this, close this, close this, and close this. So we have created the model, okay, and we have made sure that we are using it correctly. Now let's do one thing. Okay, properties count do dot each. Okay, we'll loop through each and every property. Okay, so property first will get in this variable, property 2 will get in this variable, and so on and so forth. So now let's use this property. How can we use this? We are using city name, right? So property dot city followed by a comma, property dot country. Now let's remove this. Let's go here, refresh, and we can see it's visible. Obviously the data is rubbish, but still it's working. Hosted by Rajat will remain same because right now we haven't connected it with user. These dates, this is a part of reservation, so I'm not focused on that right now. And price we'll see later on. Okay. And then there is rating. Again, that's a separate thing. So these are all dummy data. Only the city and state, sorry. Yeah, city and country name is visible. We can show name and other details also, but that's not part of our homepage. So I'll close this video here. In next video, we will make it a bit more cleaner, this seeds part, and we'll use Faker, which is a really nice gem. That's it for now. Let me remove this comment also. We don't need this now. Uh, Thank you and subscribe to this channel. Bye bye. Okay, sorry. Before ending this, I forgot one thing, which was explaining you the MVC part here. So if you see database, which is part here, seeds and schema, this entire database. So view browser is calling our index page, right? That gets to our controller. So this is our index page. This gets to our controller, which in this case is a part of home. Controller, let me go. Controller. This again creates a variable and calls property.all. Property. So we are already on controller. We are already, let me, on this part, controller. From browser, we have shifted to controller. From controller, we have to go to model. So this is property. Let's open this. This is a model. You can see this models property. Now this property model will connect with our database, which is part of seeds and schema, right? So this will connect with our database, fetch the information. So now this property model contains the information that we want to share, right? So now it has interacted with our database and it has come back to the model. Now this model will send that information back to controller. So it will go to home controller, get the value of this and save it in properties. And again, this controller will go to view. So this @ properties will go to our view, and this entire code will get rendered correctly in our browser. So view will show it in browser. So that's how this MVC framework works. Hope this makes things clear. Thank you and subscribe to this channel. Bye bye.